weekend racing. It's time to recap it. And who better to do it than Michael and Magic? Two bros/pros who cover the highs and lows of racing around the globe on every one of their shows. Real fans look forward to these guys and their last stunts, cause they know they're not talking out of their royal ascot. What they say makes sense. So ladies and gents, sit back and relax as Blinkers Off presents The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
And this is The Magic Mike Show, episode 375, Mr. Somich.
Preakness, huzzah!
Glad to have you back, buddy. I cannot wait for about 2 more weeks when Aaron finally sends you your microphone cord back so that I can actually fully hear your voice. But listen, I'm just happy to see you again.
It'd be nice, man. I mean, he's like, yeah, I'll send it. And this was right after Kentucky Derby. If he didn't say it, I just go buy the freaking cord. It's like $20. I could just go buy the cord. It wouldn't be that much. So hopefully he actually sends it. I may just go buy one this weekend anyway.
I mean, you could get it on Amazon and be there tomorrow.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, Amazon's probably quicker than Best Buy is actually like 2 miles away, so it's not that bad.
Oh, but you have a Best Buy still. That's rare. We have a Best Buy, and it's
in
LA.
LA.
Just a Geek Squad, and there's the TV center, and that's it. Everything else, they have people who just say, okay, you want to find it online? Here, we'll help you buy it. I'm like, what? Why do we even pay for the storefront at this point?
Literally talking themselves out of jobs.
Yeah, I mean, it's here. We'll help you find it on our website. And I'm like, okay, great. Or I can just go to Amazon where I know it's going to be cheaper, and where I know the employees now get paid to take bathroom breaks. So that's wonderful. But hey, we're talking Preakness stakes. Or I should say the Pimlico late pick 4 that ends in the Preakness stakes. It's all stakes. It's not all graded, but the Pimlico card for me, Mike, is usually it probably is the most difficult of the Triple Crown cards because with the Belmont and with the Derby, it's like everybody's building towards those cards. Whatever division you're building towards that day, and then you take like 5-6 weeks off and you build towards that Belmont. But there's the Pimlico 2 weeks in between where it's like, if you weren't good enough to make the other races on Derby Day, well, now you can show up. Or maybe you just weren't far enough along in your progression. Or maybe you're a Maryland bred. And, there's a lot of Maryland breds in these races. So for me, this card is always difficult. Do you struggle with this card at all?
No, because I handicap these cards much more commonly than you do. Just this kind of style of card. So it makes sense to me. Honestly, when Aaron and I had this argument about the Triple Crown, he didn't even bring this up. This would have been one of the better arguments. To say we should space it out so you could have essentially triple crowns in every division across all 3 tracks and have some type of purse bonuses for that. Because you could have some fun with having 3 major sprint races, 3 major mile-and-a-half turf races, then have the 3-year-olds run, have the older males run. Figure out ways to kind of build it into almost a triple crown series. And that the 2-week turnaround followed by the 3-week turnaround makes it impossible to do that for every division. Obviously, they do it for the 3-year-olds because it's this big whole deal thing, but to do it for every division would be quite difficult. But that might be a good way. But yes, it is definitely, I like this. It's the NIT of the big days. That's a great way to put it, right? It's like, it's like it's the non-bowl series division, right? It's just that one step down from what everybody wants. But that being said, I mean, we're talking 16-horse fields on the turf. We're talking turf sprints. We're talking turf routes. We're talking good dirt routes. And we're also talking good weather. That's the other thing that I'm excited about. It's supposed to be 94, I believe. On Saturday, so it's going to be warm, but we're not going to get any rain. Should stay on the turf. No issues there. Should be fast and firm. Definitely looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be nice not having to worry about any weather. Other than, if you were there, I would say you're going to be worried about overheating. Though if you're there, you actually probably should just be worried about finding toilets that work. Toilets, working plumbing, that seems to be the big struggle those days at Pimlico. Mike, lots of races to talk about. I'm excited. You want to jump right into it?
I do. I just want to say the infield is going to be wild. Like the level of non-clothed people on that infield when it's 94 degrees is going to be absolutely nuts. This would be one of those where it'd be like, yeah, maybe I'd go in the infield just to see how crazy it gets on a day that's 94 degrees.
After, this is the first normal Preakness we've had in 3 years. So, yeah, you've got that on top of it. The Porta-John Potty races, those will be in full effect, so we'll watch.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure during our live show Saturday, we're going to take plenty of breaks to watch that. But let's jump into the Liberty Bowl of Triple Crown racing cards, Mike. The Pimlico Stakes, or the Pimlico Preakness late pick 4 on Saturday. Riders up! Whew, yeah, like Gabe said, drunk 16-year-olds all over that. I mean, 21-year-olds. There's nobody drinking underage at Pimlico.
No,
Never.
definitely not at Pimlico. No.
Wrong trumpet. I don't know what I'm not. I should have what we need, like Megan Thee Stallion doing it. That's like that's who's doing it for the Preakness this year, right? All right, my first leg of the late pick 4 at Pimlico on Saturday, May 21st, race 10 is the James W. Murphy Stakes. This is a 1-mile turf route for 11 3-year-olds, including the 5 ready to perform, who's your 5-2 favorite. One thing that I forgot until just now that it really drives me nuts about the Preakness and just kind of Maryland racing in general, they take entries without jockeys. So if you want to bet the 1, good luck figuring out who the hell the jockey is. Mike, where are you going on top?
I'm guessing they'll let us know by Saturday, but we'll see. I mean, I hope they'll let us know by Saturday. Look, I'm going to go to a horse that's never touched the turf on top. I kind of like the 10-horse Joe here. How often do you see, well, I guess he's touched the turf once. He ran in the turf his first start. But how often do you see after that a declaration of war horse not go back to the turf and then head to the dirt, and not only do head to the dirt, but do really well there? So this horse debuted at 5.5 furlongs over the turf, comes back, breaks his maiden next time out, going a mile in the dirt, rips off 3 straight, runs second in a $100,000 stakes, goes back to a $125,000 stakes, gets the win at mile and an eighth. Now we're headed back to the turf. One thing I just love about the 10 horse is the tactical speed. It just seems like Joe is going to be able to get whatever trip he wants to make. It's one of those horses where you talk about how many Laurel and how many Maryland-bred type horses that you end up seeing in these races. Well, these overnight stakes are just filled with these Maryland-type horses. And Joe is another one of those where he just kind of makes a ton of sense. Bred by the Exstone Group, which is a big-time Maryland group. And this horse, I think, wants turf more than he wants dirt. And if so, definitely the last race wins this. Maybe the 1-2 back, even though you have Shaken Loose who beat him in that spot, but that was over dirt. He should improve over this. I think Joe at 3-1 is a pretty good price here. Did you use the 10?
Yeah, I went 3 deep here, and this was my second choice. Yeah, all great points. The older half-sister was grade 3 placed and a 2-time winner in turf route, so it's not just that you could say, hey, breeding because he's by declaration of war. The damn site's got it as well. And the jockey-trainer combination here for Joe, which I just realized he's not on screen, sorry. He's the 10 horse, he's all the way down there. Which not worried about that. He likes to sit mid-pack, so not worried about the 10 post. But Carrasco and Trombetta at Pimlico specifically, they're 2 for 2 together in stakes. Both of those were turf routes last year, and they're 32% overall since last year's meet. And both of those with really high ROIs. Their turf winners were 10-1 and 5-1 last year in those stakes races. So a great combination, definitely one you got to look out for.
I agree with the jockey trainer combo is a big plus there too. My other must use was Riot House, the 7 horse. And if we're talking jockey trainer combinations, let's talk Ganny Garden and Luis Saez.
Yep.
I'm guessing you had this horse on top based on that reaction.
Yep.
All right, you can go into it for Riot House then.
Oh no, I didn't mean to. My big thing is Gargan and Saez are great. They're 28%. But this horse also has really good tactical speed. You've got 2 strong races on turf in route races. You have the highest turf buyer in the field of 77. The 4th place horse from 2 back, 1 next out with a 76 buyer. The 2nd, 3rd place horses haven't run yet, so we can't talk about them. But I don't know about you, but I saw the 1, 2, and 3 horses being the first 3 into the clubhouse turn, and I think that Riot House, and Joe if he wants to, but definitely Riot House has the tactical speed to sit close and get first run on them. So you've got some closers like Ready to Perform who need the horses to come back. I think Riot House gets the jump, and with Saez as smart as he's riding right now, boy, you don't want to leave him off in a spot like this.
Yeah, I thought so. I don't think there's a ton of speed in here. It's interesting because you have multiple 100-plus time form ratings, but it's not a lot of horses that want the lead. And Riot House, I thought, was going to sit a beautiful trip here, probably in 2nd or 3rd around that first turn. And I think it's just going to get an awesome chance to be able to get first run. One of the horses I use is one of those 1, 2, and 3. I actually went with a 3 horse here. Uncaptured Spirit is a horse I put on my ticket as well. I mentioned how I didn't think there was a ton of speed. Well, look at this horse's last effort on the turf there. So he went 5.5 furlongs on the turf at Laurel, jumps up to his career best race there, able to go wire to wire going in a turf sprint, which I think is rather important. He had faced pressure late and then pulled back away, which I also think is important because it showed heart. And in these races, if you're going to wire a field, you're going to get pressed at some point. You need to have that heart to be able to dig in and get the job done. On top of that, I don't like the breeding actually says this horse fits. I mean, that's the crazy part as well. So if you're looking for the distance, like his sire won over $1 million on grass, and one of his siblings was a triple route winner. So you've got the bloodlines for this horse to actually be able to get the distance as well. I like the fact that we had run an overnight stakes before, so you have $200,000 stakes on the card there, both on the dirt. Didn't do great on them, but again, the surface switch is what I'm more interested in. So I think Uncaptured Spirit is a shot at wiring this field at a decent price at 12-1.
If you were going to use one of those three horses that I talked about, 1, 2, 3, that's the one I think you use. I think that's your most likely gate to wire horse. It could happen. This, like we said, it's going to be firm and fast courses, and we should be plenty of firm turf leading up to the race day. So there should be plenty of speed to be had on the course. I didn't use a 3, but again, like I said, if you were going to use a speed horse or a potential gate to wire, that's who I would go with. My other horse, I went 3 deep here. I used the 9 Crabs and Beer. I kind of wanted to because of the name, like Michael Myers says. I actually do have legit reasons for liking this horse. We talked about jockey-trainer combinations for Carrasco and Trombetta with Joe, Gargan and Sides with Right House. Jamie Rodriguez and Jamie Ness, they might be two people you don't necessarily want around your horses, but they're also very good jockey-trainer combination-wise. They're 28% together. This horse was the only 3-year-old in a field last out of 9 other horses that were 4 to 6 years old. The only 3-year-old beats the horses. Second place in that last race, won the next start. Second from 2 back, also won their next start. I think this is just one of those classic Jamie Ness angles, Mike, where you go 10 sprints to a route. The horse is bred for turf. I love it. Yeah. I'm getting a great price, too. I understand, like, we're coming off that 5.5 furlong. You don't know, can this horse, take that to 2 turns? Will he be too forwardly placed and kind of fade? Possibly. But 12-1 with that combination with Jamie Ness training the horse, I've got to use this horse.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I'd left him off. I mean, Quality Road on the top, so Blofeld's Sires Quality Road, it makes you think that the distance shouldn't be an issue. And Jamie Ness has pretty good stats stretching horses out, so I wouldn't be too worried about that. I'm more worried about the post position and where this horse ends up fitting. We talked about the 7 who's got some tactical speed. The 1 and the 2 have tactical speed. I think the 3 goes. So all of a sudden, the 9 is sitting in 5th or 6th place and maybe 2 or 3 wide. I think that's a tough trip for that type of horse. So I'm going to lean away from the 9, but I get it. The last horse on my ticket's the 5, Ready to Perform. We talked about how everyone else is going to be jockeying for position. Ready to Perform is going to be all the way in the back, just waiting to pass everybody on that stretch run, and should get the opportunity. I mean, we've got enough pressure early that I think you're going to get at least honest fractions, and it could set up well for the 5 to be able to come rolling from the back. I want to have the best closer in this field in case my speed doesn't hold in the 3 and Riot House doesn't necessarily fire, and then you got the 10 who needs to make the trip. So I think the 5 is actually the correct favorite in this spot. I want to have it on the ticket here. I'm not going to put it on the $5 ticket that I didn't play. I'm only going 7-10 on my $5 ticket. But for the 50 center, I'm going to kick it off with 3-5, 7-10.
Yeah, I took the 5 off because we're using Joe at 3-1 and we're using Riot House at 4-1. And again, you're going even your ticket for 50 cents is $18, so you're going very short here. I couldn't do it. My thing with Ready to Perform, the Laurel Futurity, it was a nice win, but 3 of the horses he beat there are in this race. I'm not touching them. There was an epic pace collapse in that race that saw him go last to first. You could have it again here. I didn't even mention there could be a pace collapse, but he went last to first. The top 2 horses, Epic Luck and Determined Kingdom, by the way, both are here. They completely dropped anchor in that race. So I thought it set up perfectly for him, and when you saw him face better horses in the Cutter Golden Mile at Del Mar, the trip notes say 6 wide and maybe got held out wide. I watched the replay. He just sucked. Like, he got that perfect Rosario wide trip off the turn. Rosario stomped on the gas, and he spit the bit. And he just kept running in place with the horses that were alongside him. It was not a good effort. It is Cox. It is Drew. You should expect this horse, if he's got talent, to be ready. But I think he's going to be too short of a price. When I'm using these other horses, I'm going to back off of him and watch this completely blow up in my face. First race, I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, all your points are fair. I would make the argument no one else has even tried to go to Del Mar out of this field. And that Del Mar race is wildly better than this. Everyone else here is running in Laurel or Pimlico, except for Riot House, who came from Gulfstream Park, which is probably better than what most of these horses have been running in. So I'm not going to hold anything. I'm not going to hold an even effort against significantly better against the 5 horse. And now the price is the big concern, right? It's what do you have to swallow coming off this layoff and also having to close. So hopefully, and this is why you play the 50 cent and the $5 pick 4, right? You use a horse like this on your 50 center to keep you alive in case he wins, but on the $5 one where you're pressing your opinions, you leave him off and you hope that you can beat him.
Hey, I agree with that. One last point I wanted to make on Joe. I forgot to bring it up, and I saw was someone in here. I thought I saw. Oh, there it is. KW Grid. And Joe's 3-1, and wasn't excited about the Preakness, but I am now. Joe actually qualified for the Preakness for winning the Tessio Stakes last time out at Laurel, but because he's not Triple Crown nominated, unlike Creative Minister, the trainer didn't trick the owners into spending $150,000 to nominate so he could run. So that's why you see it was very odd that they were like, hey, you won that race, shake him loose, you looked pretty good, you beat Joe 2 back on dirt. We're going to put both of you in the turf. We're not even going close to the Preakness. So it tells you a little bit about that race. We'll move on to the Sir Barton Stakes. Speaking of horses not good enough to go to the Preakness, Mike, always an interesting race, the Sir Barton, race 11. It's an amount of 16th dirt route. It's for 3-year-olds who've never won a stakes race. And again, at this point, like, if you're not in the Preakness, not on the Derby, like, there's something, you kind of have to have a unique situation to show up here. You can usually get a good price, sometimes a funky result here. B-Doc is the 5-2 favorite, and I think that's a great place to start because B-Doc didn't really run that well, and then we ship to Keeneland and take the blinkers off, and he wins by almost 12 lengths. So what do you do with B-Doc?
I use B-Doc. I have him in second on my tickets, and I have him as a must-use. Look, that last race was too good to ignore. It's one of those spots where it's like, okay, is it taking the blinkers off that helps? Is it getting out of California that helped? What was it? You saw California horses do very well at Keeneland as well. So I'm not shocked that he was able to roll, but look, I think B-Dog gets the lead here, and I don't see a ton of other horses that are going to be out there pressing him. Because of that, I want to use them. You've got some speed in Unikey, you've got some speed in Ruggs as well, but to me, B-Doc, I think, is going to be the horse that kind of goes from that inside and the more inside draw and is able to make some noise from there. So I have B-Doc, but I actually like the 4 horse at 15-1 on top here, the Addison Poor. So I'm going to go 4-5 on my press ticket and see if we can get a monster price home here. Addison Poor is one of those horses where it broke a maiden in a maiden special weight over the Laurel Park track, stretched out to 2 turns next time out, ran pretty well, runs back at 2 turns, runs okay, misses by a head, comes back at 2 turns again, and able to win the next time running over the fast track. I like the fact this horse has taken 3 consistent steps forward after breaking that maiden. Brittany Russell knows what she's doing. She's very good here. Toledo is one of her top riders. They're 45% so far at the Pimlico meet, which is wildly good. 36% overall, which doesn't suck, by the way. So when the two get together, they do very, very well. You're getting a great price on a horse that's improving. And look, I like the fact that we've got some tactical speed. This just to me feels like a race where you're going to get a weird result. And the favorite at 5-2 seems a little short. I don't think it's actually going to go off at 5-2. I think Ethereal Road's going off as your favorite here. And I don't love Ethereal Road, so I'm going to try and take a couple shots against and see if I can be right.
I'll agree with you. The B-Doc was my second choice in here. That Keeneland race, way too good to be used. The runner-up, fun fact, runner-up in that race, Tis a Magician's baby brother was making his career debut for Chad Brown. Nobody cares but me. I do like in that race also the horse that pressed the speed inside of him because he was right up there in the front early, finished 9th. So B-Doc kept going. Inside speed, it's not like they went 1-2 or 1-3 at the wire. So, again, Mike, to what you're saying, it was just too good to leave him off. I put the 8 Unikey on top. I thought the maiden win in the slop 2 races back was pretty impressive. It came back pretty strong. The 3rd-place horse won next out with an 87 buyer. That was pretty sharp. You had the 5th, 8th, and 9th-place horses all won next out from that race as well. All of them did it in protected races, so they didn't have to drop down for tags. That second start when he lost, I actually thought was more impressive because he did all the dirty work. He was inside with 3 horses to his outside, setting the pace. Through the turn, got rid of all of them, straightened for home, looking like he was going to win. And then he smelled a fresh pot of burgoo being made, and he just went straight out to the stands. And Irad was like, no, get over. In that time, he opened up the rail. Condemn, with the beautiful move from Velasquez, hugging the rail, comes up, nails him at the wire. But he fought hard. He was trying. It just put some nose plugs in so he doesn't smell the burgoo or whatever, the crab cakes at Baltimore. But regardless, I think if this horse doesn't lug out, he wins that race. It's an even better effort, and we're not even getting 4-1 on him here. He's bred to go 2 turns. He's getting Chad Brown's #1 rider currently as of Saturday aboard. And Irad, by the way, is a head away from being 2 for 3 for a small barn. Think about that. He's 1 for 3 right now. If that result changes, he's 2 for 3 for this barn. And again, if that's the case, you're not getting 4-1 on him.
Yeah, I think we argued about this horse before. I can't remember exactly because I hated Cape Trafalgar, who ran second in that race. And there's been a bunch of next out winners from that race. It wasn't just under oath. I think it was the 5th place, the 8th place, the 9th place finisher too. I think it's like 4 horses that have won out of that race. Cape Trafalgar was awful coming back. And so you have that one like data point where it's like, hey, this horse sucked. But then the other 6 data points where these horses are really good. So it's hard to be like, yeah, let's get really excited about a race in the slop with like buyers that came back really high for everybody compared to what they had run before. So I don't think that 90 is necessarily true, but that 85 backs it up pretty well to where, maybe that 90 was more like an 80. And maybe and then this makes a lot more sense from a progression standpoint, because you wouldn't have thought that he would have regressed there. I had Unikey as my 4th horse on, and I only went 3 deep, and that's why I didn't end up getting to him. I don't know. You could add him if you want. It'll only take my ticket to $24, but he would be the next one I would use if I was going to do this. Actually, I'll put him on the 50-cent ticket, so I'll be 4, 5, 6, 8. So I'll add him in there, because you're right. He does make sense. He does fit, and I think we get close to 4-1 on race day, which also makes it valuable. Last horse I'm going to use is the number 6 horse, Mr. Jefferson. This is the horse where I'm just really interested second off the layoff. Like, they did a lot with this horse where they sent him to the Withers, they sent him to the Remsen, he was in the Jerome, so he ran a bunch of the stakes where you're kind of building up to be one of those Derby horses, and he just wasn't good enough. They give him a break, and they run it back at 1 1/8, and all of a sudden this horse, really first time, I'm going to call it first time as a 3-year-old, because it's the first time he got his break after a 2-year-old, pops a massive number, comes back with an 87 buyer. It's like, hey, guess what? I want to run again. I'm happy. Let's go. Wins the race, looks very good doing it, came in second and missed to Joe, who we just talked about, by the way. But looks very good doing it, and I think it's going to be good again here. And 6-1 seems like a really nice price. If you go back and you watch that race last time out, he makes the lead and then gets caught late. We're shortening up, which I think helps him a little bit here. I think it's all systems go for Mr. Jefferson. I like the fact we're getting 6-1 here.
Yeah, this is a spot that I actually would have thought Joe would have shown up if they didn't want to spend for the Preakness. He does have that turf breeding again. But by the way, I didn't want to go back to this KW Grid. When you posted this, I thought that you were talking about the Preakness card that you were excited about, not the race. I don't know if you deleted it. I don't know why it still showed up. That's kind of funny. But that I was going to apologize, and then you came in here, and then you made fun of Mike for how he pronounced Ethereal Road. That's okay. Listen, nobody here.
Road. It will be Ethel Road until the horse retires, because the horse sucks too well for me to learn how to pronounce his name.
That's true. Win a race,
and I will pronounce your name correctly, Ethel Road.
Chris brings up some distance concerns with Unikey. The dam had in 3 times going route of ground, had a win, and the 2 times didn't win, finished 2nd or 3rd in stakes races. So the dam side says that as a grandson of Candy Ride, shouldn't have an issue with it. But I will say unified horses haven't been going as long as maybe Candy Ride horses have. So that's the 2 for me. I went 8-5 here. Did you just go too deep as well?
No, I'm going too deep on the $5 ticket. I'm going 4-5 on the $5 ticket. Yep. And then the 50-cent ticket, I'll go 4, 5, 6, and 8.
Yeah, the Addison Poor, cool name behind that too. The Addison Poor name for the Addison area where the owner lives. There's a bar where they do what's called the Addison Pour, where, Mike, you would appreciate this. Instead of like ice cube and then like 1 or 2 fingers, it's 1 or 2 ice cubes and the glass. That's the Addison Pour.
I can get behind that. We should visit there. Where is this?
Somewhere in Maryland.
No. All right. Well, maybe we'll go to the Preakness next year and visit that bar.
We'll go visit the owner-breeder Elkstone Group. We'll go find them and figure it out. Until then, Mike, let's move on. The penultimate leg of the late pick 4 at Churchill Downs. I did it finally. At Pimlico on Saturday, May 21st. Race 12 is the Jim McKay Turf Sprint Stakes. Loaded field of males. 3 and up. There is actually a 3-year-old in here. The 10 Concrete Glory going 5 furlongs on the grass. This is going to be a fun race. Where are you going on top?
I liked your boy Karatari here. Look, he's setting up for just to run a monster race in this spot. It's first time off the layoff, but that's never been an issue with Karatari. You've actually seen some of the best races come first off the layoff. This field isn't as good as what he's faced in the past couple. I think he's going to absolutely just run a monster here. If he runs back to either the last race, 4 back, even 6 or 7 back, he's good enough to win this. I think the Karatari stands out at 9-5. You get Saez aboard for the 3rd time. Last time out, he was huge. If you go back to the Parks race, just draw a line through that. That race was an absolute mess. Got steadied mid-stretch and also was won by a horse that was rampantly cheating, which we found out later.
Yeah, that D right there stands for drugged out the ass.
Yeah, so that was, I think it was 99-1 too. It was wild.
Yeah.
Karatari, I think if they stand out on top here, this is one of the spots where I'm going to probably have a large daily double in the last 2 races here. Karatari is a single for me in the $5 ticket.
I would not blame anybody for singling this horse. All great points. He's my top pick. I love this horse to death. I've been following him since he debuted in June of 2018. Wow, I feel old all of a sudden. I've been following this horse that long. No, I've been following him for a long time. A friend of mine is who owns him. The one reason I didn't go stronger, I know why I went 4 deep, Mike. This horse's Achilles heel is drawing inside. If you look through his past performances, when he draws post 2, finishes third. He draws post 2, he loses. He draws post 2. There's a win. Draws post 2, loses. He keeps getting stuck inside, and there's some sort of a small trip issue. When it's turf sprinting, you can't have anything go wrong. He keeps having these little tiny issues that prevent him from winning more often than he has. I mean, he's 8 for 24. 7 for 21 on the turf. 1 for every 3 starts. He's winning. He's a fantastic horse. But if we want to try and beat him, because he's a 9-5 favorite, where do you want to go?
Well, if I'm going to take a shot against him, I think the 3-7 cents makes a lot of sense. This is a horse where it can sit right off the pace and be able to make a move. I like the fact we've got a monster early time form number, but we're still able to close in the last couple of races. And when we have success, we're sitting, second, third, fourth, a couple lengths back. I think that's kind of where you want to come from in this field. You've got quite a bit of speed signed on. I think that 7 cents will be able to sit right behind a wall of horses that are leading early and make that move on the turn. That's how 7 cents gets the job done. You got 4-1. So I think 7 cents is a little bit interesting. So I'll put him on the 50-cent ticket. And then I'm going to go to the 9-horse Hollis as the other horse on the 50-cent ticket. This is more because I'm just scared of this horse on turf. And if he gets going, he can motor out front. So if 9 breaks cleanly, I love me some Raylu. If the 9 breaks cleanly and gets out to the front, I think Hollis is really dangerous in this spot at a price. You do have enough back turf races where I'm not concerned about handling the turf. You only see, I think, 3 of them on the DRF past performances. But when you look at that turf result, at this distance, he's 2 for 7, and he has a 96 career high turf buyer. He's 1 for 2 over Pimlico's turf, where that 96 buyer came from. By the way, that's the 3rd highest turf sprinting buyer you have in this entire field as well. So it fits with these. And if he gets out front, he's awfully deadly. I'm hoping we can get to the lead with this horse and just take him gate to wire. We'll see what actual trip Hollis ends up getting, but I want to have him as a price if one of those bigger, one of the more talented turf sprinters toward the inside isn't able to fire.
Yeah, I went 4 deep, and we've talked about 3 of them so far. I'm with you on Hollis. If you watch the Oaklawn Park meet race of the day that we did throughout the meet with Aaron, John Ortiz was red hot at Oaklawn and was consistently, even if his horses weren't winning, they were running consistently well, and it's carried on since then. So I'm with you. I like Hollis. Actually, that 96 buyer, Mike, it's for winning this race 2 years ago when it was held back when they had the fall Pimlico meet in October. It was over yielding ground, but he has done well over firm ground as well. So yeah, I'm with you. I think Hollis is very, very dangerous here, and I think because he hasn't done well on turf in a long time, and he hasn't really touched turf in a while, people are going to be scared away. I think we're going to get maybe 8-1 on him, which I think is going to be plenty of value. So you're 3 for 3. Can you name my 4th horse for me? Man,
I'm guessing.
Come on. Someone in the chat named it.
I only went 3 deep. I'm guessing you used either the 5 Mr. Hustle or the 1 Bank. Since the 1 Bank is by Steve Asmussen, I'm going to say you used the 5 Mr. Hustle.
You are correct, sir. So is Chris. Maker magic possible here. Indeed,
I wasn't
Mr. Hustle.
That.
We got Irad riding for Mike Maker, and it's interesting if you look back at the horse. Did very well in the fairgrounds turf sprints back in the wintertime, and then goes to that optional claimer for 80K and just had a complete no-show in that spot. They dropped the horse down for 40K, and off of seeing that horse completely stop for no apparent reason, Mike Maker said, hey guys, let's spend $40,000 on this horse. Like, we could probably buy him right now, but let's spend $40,000 for him out of his next race. They run him back protected in a Keeneland allowance, which is going to be almost as tough as what if he's facing in a lot of these horses, including the winner that day, 7 cents. Had a lot of trip trouble and still came flying late. If this horse gets a cleaner trip, and now we're getting Irad Ortiz Jr., who's 24% with Maker, yeah, I love this. At 10-1, I feel like because of as chalky as I've been through the other sequences, this feels to me like the race where I can catch a price. And 10-1, Maker, Irad, let's go.
Yeah, I don't hate the 5. I think you made a bunch of great points about how this horse could improve here in this spot. That trip was not great last time. The fractions were wildly fast up front, so it's set up for someone to come off the pace, and that's what Mr. Hustle was able to do. But he did have a little bit of traffic trouble and didn't get the cleanest trip through. I don't think he was ever getting to 7 cents, which is the main reason I didn't use him here. But I just thought the 3 was way better in that spot because he was close to that fast pace and was still able to get the job done. But I don't hate the idea of Mr. Hustle. I think Bank on the inside has a shot as well. So I think you could go deeper here if you wanted to.
Is there anyone we talked about that that you would be interested? Let's talk about Bank. You said that maybe that was the other horse I would have gone with, and I didn't. What made you think that? And this is a horse that's never tried turf. If someone's looking at it, why not?
To me, this is one of those where you're like, can he take a big-time step forward, right? And he's been running in big races, so $100,000 allowances, $100,000 stakes race. Last time was $100,000 optional claimer. Horse hasn't touched turf, but has enough pedigree by Bernardini, gone west on the bottom side, that I wouldn't hate the idea of being a turf sprinter. Has shown enough tactical speed, but has a big-time late kick. And one of the things that we've mentioned about a lot of these horses, Karatari, 7 cents, Mr. Hustle, even Hollis, and then the 7 Grateful Bread as well, all of the 100 and the 10 Concrete Gary, all have 100-plus time form numbers early. I mean, this is one of those races where you could see it heat up really early, and the horse that would take advantage of that is Bank, who's never touched the turf. If he gets a trip, he could come flying, and look who decided to pick up the mount. Joe Rosario, who's the exact jockey that you want in that spot. So, to me, you could make a case for the 1. I'm going to single the 2 in my $5 ticket, and I'm going to single the 2 in most of my press tickets over the weekend. Like I'm probably not going very deep in this race because I think Karatari is that much better than them. But if you start spreading here, you can get really close to the all button really quickly, and that's kind of one of those decisions why I think you have to make a decision. Okay, am I going to do I want to take a stand with Karatari? Do I want to take a stand with someone else? Or am I all of a sudden deciding I'm going to spread like crazy? And it's interesting Chris mentions this because I've been very anti-Steve Asmussen, and I'm wondering if I need to reassess my Steve Asmussen turf situation and say that was because Santana was riding for him, because Santana is awful on turf. And so maybe it's a more Santana problem than an Asmussen problem. We'll see if this changes with Joel Rosario. It's too early to tell, but this is one of those races where if you don't like Karatari as much as I do, I could see why you almost hit the all button in this spot.
Well, and if there's one type of race where the all button's your friend, it's a mad scramble turf sprint that's got double-digit field size. So, by the way, I'm looking. Ricardo's riding at. Oh, he's still at Churchill. That's right. He's got a bunch of turf mounts. I'm gonna keep an eye on him. Let's see if he wins the Great Louisville Stakes, riding for Chad Brown. Ricardo's riding for Chad Brown on the turf at Churchill. Boy, Flavian Pratt, how's that suspension going, buddy? All right, let's move on, Mike. 4th and final leg, the big race everybody cares about, the Grade 1, $1.5 million Preakness Stakes, 2nd leg, the middle jewel of the American Racing Triple Crown. We all know the story. 9 3-year-olds in here. One of them is a filly, Secret Oath, but your favorite is the 8 Epicenter, 6-5. Mike, we're both singling him here, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to try and get too creative here. We could talk about this race. I actually, because I've been out sick here the last week, I haven't talked that much about the Preakness, which is kind of crazy. This just sets up really well for Epicenter, doesn't it? Like every raid that you go, if you're like, okay, well, there's going to be speed. Well, if there's speed, it's probably 2 or 3 horses. It's probably Armagnac. It's probably early voting. Maybe Fenwick tries to get involved early. But Epicenter sits right behind them, gets first run, and then has to hold off Secret Oath. Like, okay. That's fine. All right, okay, so let's flip it around. Let's say early voting gets a lone lead. Who's sitting second? Well, Epicenter. So all Epicenter has to do is get by early voting on a lone lead. That's easy. Oh, haven't we seen someone do that? Oh, yeah, Modonigal. I think he's a little better than Modonigal. So it's like, I'm not sure what the race shape form is that puts Epicenter in a bad spot here. And it's just the horses that would either come after him or the horses that are trying to stay in front of him aren't good enough to run him down. So the only way Epicenter loses this race is if Epicenter doesn't bring his race, which is possible. It's horse racing. But when was the last time Epicenter didn't bring his race? That's the next question. He's never not done it. So I trust him as a favorite in that sense. I think it's really hard to get around Epicenter here. And if you want to make money, I think it's by pressing through the pick 3, the pick 4, the pick 5. It's playing heavy doubles into them. It's playing the Black-Eyed Susan into the Preakness double because I think the Black-Eyed Susan is wide open. Yep. Or it's playing internally here with him on top and you're trying to find tries and superfectas that have a little more prices underneath.
So there's a video that I did, if you didn't know, over our YouTube channel, 5 myths about betting the Preakness stakes, and one of them talks about the trifecta and how few Derby horses actually make the trifecta. In 25 of the last 32 Preaknesses, I think, at least one non-Derby runner made the try, and I think 4 of the last 8 or 7, you had 2 of the 3 horses in the try weren't in the Derby. Now here you've got a 2 and 3 shot of getting that right, right? 6 of these 9 horses weren't in the Derby, but to that point, you can get lots of prices too. So we've got a lot of time here still, Mike, because we agreed on a lot of stuff. The first thing I want to go back to, Chris had this great question, a great conversation. Karatari is the 9-5 favorite in the race before. If you want to if you're like Karatari is going to win and Epicenter is going to win, you want to make money, you hammer the double, right? What's the likelihood of this paying?
I mean, if you get, let's say it's a $1 double, if you get 4 back, that's a pretty good value. Which seems wild, but I mean, that would be about where I would expect the starting pay. If you're getting $5 or $6 back, that's huge. Especially if it's like the $6 range, because look, if you 9-5 is, you're basically doubling your money. So $2, then 6-5, doubling your money again. So $3, $6. So it'd be $6 based on the morning line. That's high, right? It's not going to pay that much. So if you're able to get $5 off it, I think that's a pretty good value. I mean, to me, it's can you find prices in the previous leg to try and, like, if the 4 is there, if Addison Road's able to get home and then you single those 2, that pick 3 will pay very nicely. So there's ways to try and make money here. It's just you got to have a different opinion or way to make Epicenter more valuable, or bet a lot of money through a specific set of bets, because Epicenter's not going to pay a ton, but Epicenter is your most likely winner.
One thing I was just thinking about, Mike, simplification always presents a handicapping challenge for us. We don't know what he's going to do. If he's going to go to the lead, he's going to pull back. He drew the rail. What should he do?
I mean, what should he do, or what will he do?
Well, both. What do you think? What do you think ends up happening? What does Velasquez, Hall of Fame rider, very smart, what does he do with simplification?
I think he sends. I think the connections want him to send. I think that Sana wants him to send. I mean, the times he's not been in front is when he's missed the break. Not because he's not. It's not because he's not fast enough to be there. It's because he's missed the break, and then they kind of have him rally from wherever. I feel like that's what they think the horse is best at. But if you watch like the Florida Derby effort where he runs third and makes the break, he never looked like he was going to win. And then you have the combination of being in the 1 post. It's a send post here, right? So I think they end up, if everything goes well, they try and send him. I don't think he's as fast as early voting. So there's a little bit of a problem there. And I mean, I guess you could see simplification, early voting, and Armagnac all hook up early, and then you have a pace collapse situation. But man, if that happens, then I still love Epicenter, who's going to sit right behind those 3, just run by and be like, okay, who's going to catch me? Right? And the only horse that could catch him is Secret Oath in that sense. And then it's like, what, Creative Minister is going to roll by him down the lane. It's going to be Skippy Longstockings that are going to get through. No. So, like, to me, if you want to play that, either way, you're playing Epicenter on top. I think the more interesting conversation is, okay, how do you find value underneath? And to me, it's Skippy Longstockings who's sitting at 20-1. I think makes a ton of sense in the 3rd and 4th spot. I think, like, you could play a 8-4 cold to start a super. So you play 8 with 4 with, and then put some prices underneath and see what happens, especially if you like that scenario that I just mentioned where simplification does send. I'm probably going to have an 8 over 249 for $5 and just hope that costs you $30, and hopefully that gets home. I don't know if you knew this. Did you listen to last week's the Regier race? Regier, whatever it was. We get about a super for $3,500 for $5.
Oh, you did, yes. No, I appreciate the we, but no, it was you. Yeah, I totally forgot about that because we didn't have the show Monday. But yeah, you just said like play Regier. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah,
play the favorite and then put 3 horses underneath and pick 2 prices. And if it works out for you, and it was we picked 2 prices and another horse. It was not a long shot. The last horse I think was the second choice.
Yep.
And the 3 of them ran underneath, but ran in the right order. And for $5, they returned $3,500. So this is another one of those races where if you're looking at this race and you're figuring out, okay, how do we possibly structure tickets? I'm going to have, I had it for $4 last Saturday. I wish I played it for $5. I played it for $4. But this is another one where I think it makes sense to go 8 over, 249, 249, 249. And you hope that the 2 and the 9 are the big prices and the 4 rolls up there and gets into 4th and you see what happens. But to me, like, this is one of those races where you're trying to find ways in exotics to make money versus betting the win.
Chris, referring to simplification, says, I think he gets the midnight bourbon trip from last year, goes out, sets and finishes a tiring second. I think, to simplification, Chris, I'm going to say Kuzo. I'm going to guess that it's Kuzo. Says Johnny V is going to want the pocket. Absolutely. Even if to your point, Mike, I think early voting's faster, but you need to out-hustle Creative Minister. Fenwick, I think they're going to send, so you need to try and get good position. You're going to beat Secret Oath. You'll beat Happy Jack. Who knows what the hell Armagnac's going to do, and Epicenter will probably stalk. So as long as you get positioned so that you're not getting buried, because if you don't break cleanly, now you're going to be probably 8th going into the clubhouse turn because you're getting pinched back along the rail. So that's why I brought it up. Before we move on, special shout-out to Golden Retriever Bella, 13 years old. The best good pupper there, 13. Wow.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of dogs. I don't know if I've never had one make it to 13. I think 12 was the longest.
Yeah. Always happy to give shout-out to dogs. We're both dog people. We both.
Yes.
I have one. I think Magic, you have 2. So happy to give shout-outs to Bella. Happy birthday, Bella. 13 is a heck of a life.
Yep, and it's a Golden Retriever. She's still got years ahead of her too. They can be pretty long and healthy dogs. That's pretty awesome. Also, Aaron, since you're here, Shadi wanted to give you a shout out because she says, I don't know who did the handicapping for Pimlico. It's Aaron. It got me from a $2 win bet to $37 with that suggested pick on the number 10. Just a little violent. Appreciate it. Shadi has had like the best beginner's luck since becoming a premium member. She started on the tournament challenge day last Friday, played Aaron's picks at Belmont, and like got a huge bankroll. I'm not going to say how much, but it was a very sizable bankroll compared to what she started with.
Wait a second. What was the horse's name?
Just a little.
Violence.
There it is.
There it is. I'm assuming that's the Violence horse. We're just gonna go with it.
We're always going to assume that's the case. But yeah, so we're definitely going to go with Epicenter here. If you want in-depth analysis of all 9 of these horses and their chances, head over to our YouTube channel. The 4 of us broke down all the horses' chances and where they came from and what we think will happen with them here. So I'm with Mike. I like Skippy Longstocking a lot at a price at 20 to 1. It feels like a horse that's improving at the right time. And again, anything can go crazy here. So if you like Epicenter, pick a few horses like Mike said underneath and have some fun. After the Kentucky Derby, Mike, I just can't say nobody has a chance. I can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to. Luckily, because Rich Strike wasn't in the race, we didn't get in that much trouble for it. But man, that was one of the more crazy things. I still can't believe how that whole Kentucky Derby went down. It sucks not to have Rich Strike in this race. I was talking about it yesterday, and it's a bummer all around. We even mentioned Mind the Bird today on the live show, and people forget that Mind the Bird, if Rachel Alexandra doesn't win that race, Mind the Bird's going for a Triple Crown in the Belmont. And that's one of the other massive upsets that we've had in the Kentucky Derby. And so it's just kind of like, man, it'd be nice to have Rich Strike here just for the story of it. I mean, but I get it, man. He was going to get waxed. It wasn't, but they didn't want him in this spot. So I understand why we're not seeing the horse. It'll be interesting if he runs in the Belmont or not. It'll be interesting what the price comes back in the Belmont and what kind of buzz that generates. But it's a bummer we don't have him here.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the Magic Mike Show. Thanks for joining Mike and I to go through the Pimlico late pick 4 sequence on Saturday, ending, of course, in the Preakness Stakes. And if you are interested in the Preakness and the entire card Saturday, we have the inside track to the Preakness Stakes wagering guide. I'm guessing they're still putting the finishing touches on it right now. I know Aaron and Jared were working extra hard on the live bankroll article. Go away. Look at all the people buying it, all these pop-ups. They were working hard on the live bankroll article, which you're not familiar with. It's exactly the plays that Aaron and Jared, if they were at the track, they're not going to be at the Preakness, but if they were there, this is exactly what they're going to play. It's what they're playing from home on ADWs is what the rest of us are going to try and play as well. But I think just twice, the Derby being one of them because of thanks to Rich Strike, just twice in the last 10 guys, they haven't turned a positive ROI. The other one that they missed, I think it was like a negative 2% ROI. So they're very good at this, and big reason for it, Mike, you know this, they press their opinions. You talk about it all the time on the show. We promote it. The guys do it right there. So check that out. If you are a premium member like Shadi, who's got the right picks and the right betting decisions and the tools necessary to make money, you have this for free already included with your membership in your dashboard. So just go here, go to Picks Dashboard. Wait for it to load 2 seconds. Click on Racing Guides. It brings it all the way down right here. As soon as it is fully available, you'll get an alert and everything in email-wise. And if you're following us on social media, trust me, you're going to find out about it. But make sure you go check that out. I've got a great feeling. Aaron, by the way, has a very, very good feeling about how Saturday's races are going. And spoiler alert, that horse that you saw there on the cover, they're pretty confident in him too.
not a bad time to subscribe either, because you get the Preakness guide and the Belmont guide, which pays through your subscription, and you'd be eligible for the Racing Dudes tournaments, which are also live now in your dashboard. So you can go and jump in there. The next tournament is going to be a week from tomorrow, so next Friday. So make sure you check that out as well. And if you're a subscriber, you get both guides and enter those tournaments, which is awesome and a lot of fun.
The full guide, breaking news here on the Magic Mike Show, Mike. The full guide's available. It just went live, so that is excellent. So actually, I could have clicked on that, and it actually would have downloaded it. I should have demonstrated. Oh well. One final note, yeah, dogs over cats.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I mean, I'm a dog person more than the cat person, but I don't dislike cats. I'm not an anti-cat person. I like dogs more. That's all.
It's like you don't dislike almond butter, but peanut butter is better, right?
No, peanut butter kills me.
I know.
So I'm going to stick with almond butter.
Mike and peanuts, not a good mix. But
we're not friends. No, not friends.
A good mix is you and the Racing Dudes team will have another Racing Dudes live show tomorrow looking at the Friday card at Pimlico. It ends in the Black-Eyed Susan Stakes, so join us for some talk at 12 noon Central tomorrow on the YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter. I'm at Curtis Kalleward. He is at Somobomb 18, number 1, number 8. Corporate Overlords at Racing_Dudes. Again, go check out the inside track to the Preakness Stakes wagering guide available right now. It's exciting that it just came out live on the show. Mike, any final thoughts before we head to the Preakness, buddy?
I'm excited for tomorrow too. Like the cards are not like star-studded like you mentioned earlier, but they're very good cards, and there's some depth to all of them. The one other thing I want to mention real quick, if anyone is specifically budget shopping, the pick 4 takeout I think is like 22 or 23% at Pimlico. The pick 5 is like 15%. So if you're going to play one or the other, play the pick 5s, not the pick 4s. The takeout is significantly less there.
That's exciting. Shotty's already excited about a new tournament.
Yeah, we should probably give our tickets out too. I don't think we've done that yet, man.
Oh, sorry.
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, okay. So for $1, I'll start off. I'm going to go 7, 9, 10 with 5, 8 with 2, 3, 5, 9 and single to Epicenter for $1. That's 24.
I'm going to play a 50-cent ticket. 3, 5, 7, 10 with 3, 5. Okay. I'm going to play a 50-cent ticket. 3, 5, 7, 10 with 4, 5, 6, 8 with 2, 3, 9 with 8, and then I'll play a $5 ticket back. 7, 10 with 4, 5 with 2 with 8. That'll cost you $20 for the $5 ticket and 24 for the 50-cent ticket.
I'm glad somebody's paying attention on this damn show.
You know, I try.
Thanks so much for joining us. Make sure you tune in later in about 1 hour, an hour and 15 minutes. Blinkers Off will be live. Aaron and Jared talking all through the card. Bring your questions and comments. It's going to be a lot looser and just more of an F-off kind of a show than what we do. We're a lot more professional here on the Magic Mike Show, as I have my AEW wrestling T-shirt on, and you're dressed up in a nice polo. Once again, noon Central tomorrow, the YouTube channel will have the Racing Dudes live show. And then on Saturday, we're doing, just like for the Kentucky Derby, we're doing a live show Saturday covering all of the stakes races. So if you want to bet live with us as we're watching the races, can't show you the footage, but you can join us for all the commentary. It's a lot of fun. So join us for that one. Until then, I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
Good luck this weekend, everybody.
This has been a presentation of RacingDudes.com, your destination for all things horse racing and sports betting. Whether you want free winners, expert insider picks, up-to-the-minute trackside weather reports, or podcasts and videos for bettors of all skill levels. Never make another wager without visiting the Racing Dudes. First,